So thanks everyone for joining us. My name is Andrew and I work at Interface as a counselor for many years now. I've worked in education since 1993 and I've been a counselor for over 16 years. During that time, I've helped to place students, including international students, at universities worldwide, and I've worked with a total of over 600, I should say, at this point as well. Some of the schools I've helped place students at include Cambridge and LSE in the UK, Cornell and UCLA and Princeton in the United States, and McGill and UBC in Canada. I've worked in Canada and internationally in China and Indonesia. I'm qualified in both university counseling and social emotional counseling. My MEd in counseling is through Lehigh University. My university counseling qualification is through UCLA. And because I'm Canadian and I started my education in Canada, I did my undergraduate work at Trent University and Queen's University. And the last thing I'll tell you about myself is that at the international schools I worked at in China and Indonesia, I also had the chance to be a PSAT, SAT, and ACT coordinator, as well as a UCAS and AP coordinator also. So I had a chance to do a lot of things, and this helps me to give accurate advice to students. So moving to the next slide, our purpose today is to talk about summer opportunities for interface students. And these are just some of the options that are available. So if we begin on this slide, a few choices to begin with are paid work opportunities. It allows a student to work in a real situation and gain experience and skills and income. Internships are often talked about, and they're ideal to explore what it is like to work in a particular setting. So as an example, engineering or finance or hospitality, we often work with students that will say, I would like to work or I would like to be an engineer, but they really don't have a clear idea of what it is to be an engineer. So here we are. So yeah, so finishing up internships. And then the other opportunity is volunteer opportunities. And sometimes that's best for students to seek out if they're looking for a less formal situation and something that offers a bit more flexibility. So as an example, I've had students that have a part-time job, but they also have a volunteering opportunity, and both of those can go well. Couple other comments to make is that all of these options can be rewarding and empowering, and wherever possible, we encourage students to seek out opportunities that are meaningful, ideally related to what they would like to study at university, and to help the student explore their interests. It's also very normal to have part-time employment as a student in the United States or Canada, I should say as well, and we encourage students to focus on the impact they can make in their personal growth and development. So part-time jobs are often overlooked by students, as are volunteer opportunities like Habitat for Humanity, where I've worked with students helping to build simple houses in China and Indonesia. But opportunities like this can provide students with really interesting things to write about on their university applications, and shows students ways that they can help people in a very direct way. All right, so the next topic we'll chat about briefly is online coursework. So two examples that families are often aware of, and students as well, are Coursera and edX. And these are just a couple of examples of websites that offer this. So some key points to know about them. Both companies offer unique opportunities to take short-term courses with universities and colleges, and I should also say with businesses at times, either for free or for a very minimal fee. You can study very niche topics that students can't get access to in high school. There's a very wide variety, and there's no obligation to stay in a course if a student wants to change into something else. And they offer a way to learn about a new topic or deepen the understanding of a topic that they have studied previously. So I wanted to give you some examples of this. So so first of all, some examples of courses that students have taken that I've worked with are things like behavioral economics or forensic science or introductory mechanical engineering. Obviously, you could not study those in a high school. And courses are available from many well-known universities and companies such as Google and IBM, and schools like LSE, Oxford, Georgetown, and many others globally. So there are universities in Australia or Europe that offer programs as well. Also, an example of how courses like this can impact an application come from a student that I worked with that could not take computer science classes at his school, but he was able to take a series of computer science courses through edX, and this, along with an internship, helped him to be admitted to a university for computer science. And lastly, we don't encourage students to take or self-study extra AP courses online or with a tutor, as universities prefer to see students take these classes at school with classmates and a teacher, and taking on too many responsibilities can negatively impact their regular classes at school, which is the most important part of a university application in any country. So our next slide deals with what parents and students are often most interested in, and that's university and summer programs, university and college summer programs, either in person or online. So a few key things to know is that Interface maintains a database with roughly 300 opportunities for students to pursue. And the different counselors and I continue to chat about opportunities that come up. So we keep the database up to date and accurate. The student's counselor can recommend options that are a good fit for a student's interests. So as an example, the focus of the program, the location, the length, etc. It's quite common for universities in the United States and colleges to offer programs like this. They can be motivating to a student and they can have a powerful experience while they're there. And it allows a student to investigate a particular school and what life is like in that city. And it can extend their learning as well. So while there's many reasons to consider sending your daughter or son to a program at a university, it's important to understand that in most cases, they will not help them to be admitted at the university they attend or any other university for that matter. So to give you some examples, I spoke with representatives at Purdue University and Vanderbilt University to get their honest feedback about how they look upon summer programs that students do. So if we talk about Purdue, the comments I got from them was that summer programs do not matter the way students and parents think they do. They do not give any particular advantage, and their main purpose is to generate extra money for the university. Also, unless a summer course awards university credit, students should consider summer programs because they're genuinely interested in the subject and want to investigate this. Vanderbilt University went a little further and they said they don't influence our decision on a student, even for those students that studied a summer program at Vanderbilt, and a student who spent their summer taking care of their younger siblings or worked a part-time job had just as much chance of being admitted as a student who did a Harvard, Yale, or Brown summer program every year of high school. They also comment that it's an access issue, so not every family can afford opportunities like this, and because they're also selective, not everyone gets in. So it's important to know they're not saying all summer programs are bad, but they're saying it's a mistake to assume that they're going to help a student get into university. So the main advice is to work with your interface counselor to find options that are a good fit for your child and to help your child apply, and they will help the child to apply. So deadlines for competitive summer programs can be as early as November for the following summer and are typically based on the student's academic record, their letters of recommendation, application essay writing, and programs wanting a balanced group of students from several countries. So I hope that's helpful. So the next slide concerns online guided research opportunities. So these are examples of companies that offer structured research mentorship opportunities for motivated high school students. So the student is matched with a mentor who's typically a university or college professor that guides them through a research project the student has interest in. Sometimes it's a project that the student presents as an option. Other times it's a negotiated topic. But the three examples here are Polygence, Lumiere, and Pioneer. So participation is competitive and an application process is involved. So all of the companies, these three as examples, they offer online information meetings that a student can sign up for and listen with their parents. And the projects that the students work on can be done at other times of the year in addition to the summer. So they don't have to take part in the summer session. It could take place at a different time in the year. So also I recommend students be a little bit older when they get involved in a project like this. Most of the students that I've had that do projects like this are typically in grade 11 or in their junior year. And the experiences are considered to be generally more meaningful than many summer programs. So two examples I can provide you of, or provide you with. One is my New Zealand student who's currently working on a history research professor or paper with a Harvard professor and focusing on aspects of European history he plans to study at university. So he's really enjoying that. And second, a student that was having difficulty being admitted to universities and spoke with her pioneer mentor at Case Western Reserve University, and her project with him helped her to be admitted at that school. So lastly, my only concern about options like this is that they can be expensive to take part in, and that the student needs to continue to prioritize their schoolwork, their school coursework over an online project, as their school results can suffer if they focus too much of their time on their project. So we're going to look at some case studies and deal with a few questions. So what I'll say here to begin with is that sometimes students and parents feel pressure that a student must attend a particular summer program to help them be admitted to that school. So as an example, go to a summer program at Stanford to help that student be admitted to Stanford. And it's important to understand that is not true. So the first question we have here is, is a summer program like the ones we've discussed here mandatory, or do universities expect students to have done something like this? So of course the answer is no. They are an option, and in many cases they're a good option, but they're certainly not a requirement. So two former students that I worked with to tell you about that have done very well and did not do summer programs at universities. Both of them are from New Zealand. The first student is an engineering major at Columbia University. Very, very bright, humble, kind student. He was doing A-levels in New Zealand. He had no formal summer programs at all. He just was involved in his school. A couple of the comments I had written down was that his activities included hiking. He created and led a science club at school where he and other students would get together and talk about science issues in the news. He enjoyed writing on a blog that he had created. So he did very well academically, and he had a really strong love of learning that came through in his application. But again, no formal summer programs at all. The second student we'll identify as student B. He was originally admitted to NYU for economics, and then I further helped him to apply to their business school, Stern at NYU, where he's currently in his third year. And again, he was doing A-levels in New Zealand, and also no formal summer programs or experience of that nature. He focused most of his activities on community service. He really enjoyed music, and so he would get together with some friends and play music at retirement homes. And he had a very unusual sport passion, which was paintball competition. Interesting and unusual student. And he also had a very strong love of learning and did well academically. So the last point is that how do university admission staff feel about programs like this? So we've discussed that to some degree already, but it's also important to know that there are many students that would like to take part in summer programs like these, and they can't because of either the cost or other responsibilities they have. So participating in most summer programs is not looked upon by a university as something unique or very, very meaningful for a student to do. So again, what we encourage you to do, work with your interface counselor to help find programs that are a great fit for the student, for your child, and they will help them with those applications. And hopefully the opportunity that is found will provide some real learning and help the students to discover some new possible pathways forward.
Hi, Andrew. We have so we're sharing some frequently asked questions by parents.
Mhm.
The first question is, what do you recommend ninth graders to spend their summer?
Nice. Right. So because of the age difference, university programs where the student stays on campus or stays overnight, often students can't get access to those just after grade 9. So a student could look at day camp options where they just attend during the day at local universities. And they could also consider visiting some universities or colleges with their family to learn more about them and what the culture is at that particular school.
Um, Thanks, Andrew. So the next question is, what would you recommend 10th graders to spend their summer?
Right. So these students are a little bit older, so they have now the option typically of attending a normal university summer camp. So away from home where they're staying overnight on campus. They could also look at some online course options, like we discussed on edX or Coursera, and they could also visit some universities as well. And my only advice with with visiting universities is to please visit some universities other than the famous ones. So certainly look at some famous ones if you're really interested, but also look at some other great schools that are not Ivy League schools.
Thanks, Andrew. So similarly, what do you recommend students to spend the summer during between their 11th and senior year?
Okay. So, right, because these students are now older and because they've thought more carefully about what they would like to study when they're at university, that opens up the opportunity for online guided research with Pioneer as an example, as well as the other ones we've discussed. So, summer university programs, online course options, visiting university campuses, as well as, I should say, paid opportunities, paid job opportunities, volunteering, internships, etc.
Another question. So do you have any recommended types of paid jobs for students?
Sure. One of the natural responses I think for students to have is to try to look for work related to what they would like to study. So, as an example, if they want to go into hospitality management, they could get work perhaps at a hotel. But I think a wide range of options would be fine. And universities really like to see students that have had very normal experiences where they've learned and grown through them. And I guess the only other comment I'd make was that in all grade levels, obviously I'm just presenting some options. So certainly, work with your interface counselor to look at other options that exist.